and the next morning I wake up and they're like, I had a dream about you last night, and I'm like, bitch, the fuck? So welcome everybody, what's up? I'm Anila Sita, the channel is Anila Sita 101. If you're new to my channel, then subscribe, bitch. Join the bad bitch gang. And today we're gonna be talking about something that actually I received a DM recently, and she made me realize that I should be making a video on this, which is how to get people to dream about you. Because yes, I've done this before. My technique, I would say, for how I do this is very different and probably not what you're gonna be expecting, but it works. Basically, this video is not gonna be that different from a video I made about how to get people to think about you, which kind of talks about telepathy, because at the end of the day, that's what this is. It's telepathy, to get someone to dream about you. Let's say if you want to dream about something, like let's just start there, right? Let's focus on your dreams and if you want to dream about something. Usually we dream about things that are in our subconscious. So like dreaming is a way to process stuff in our subconscious, and the way that you can get something into your subconscious is by repetitively doing something or repetitively thinking about it. Now I will say, when it comes to dreams, there's like spiritual ways as well to view dreams, and I genuinely think that dreams are not just here to process things in our subconscious, but they are also here to give us signs. If you set an intention for something before going to sleep, so you set an intention to dream about something or to find an answer in your dream, or you're going to get it. The reason why I'm explaining all of this is because I really need you to understand this kind of stuff, to understand where I'm coming from with my technique. The way that I've done this before to get someone to dream about you is essentially I try to plant myself in their mind and manifest that they think about me constantly, because I kind of feel like that's where it starts. I mean, maybe there's going to be somebody out there who's going to tell you, no, you can make someone dream about you without, you know, getting them to think about you first. But for me personally, I feel that everything runs on belief, and I didn't believe that it was gonna work that way. I had to figure out my own way to try to make someone dream about me, I guess. What I do to get someone to dream about me is two things. First of all, I try to get them to think about me constantly with a specific technique that I'm gonna tell you about in a second. And I try to make myself dream about them first, because let me tell you something, we are all connected. Everything is connected. Separation is actually an illusion, and that is based on the law of one. The law of one states that we are all connected. Everything is intertwined with each other. You are the universe. You're a fragment of it. I'm gonna insert a picture right here that I thought explained this really well. And you know what's crazy? The more that I read about quantum physics and learn about these kind of concepts, I realize that this is so true. We really are all connected. And I'm saying this because I really need you to believe this for this to work. This whole thing runs on belief. I don't give a shit what anybody has to say that comes from the scientific point of view, because to be honest, spirituality has so many things that you can't even explain in a scientific way. So I'm just gonna tell you basically how I do it. So first of all, understand that we are all connected. When you really get that, you'll realize that even if a person, you know, you haven't spoken to them, or even if a person, things didn't go well with them, whatever the case may be, just kick all of that stuff out. Stop listening to all the naysayers, to all the people who don't believe in this stuff. Toss out the negative, doubtful shit, because that is not going to serve you well when trying to do this. So now that we've got you on a sort of wave of believing and being like, this is going to work, because trust me, I've done it. So if I'm able to do it, bitch, then why would you not be able to do it? So first thing I do, I try to get a person to think about me constantly. As I said, I have a video on this, so if you want more in-depth sort of explanation to that, then please check out that video. But basically, in a gist, what I do is I say out loud, I want, and then the person's name. So let's say, for instance, Andrew. I want Andrew to think about me constantly. I want Andrew to think about me obsessively. I want Andrew to go crazy thinking about me. Like, it just doesn't stop for him so much, to the point that I'm like the main focus in his mind. And trust me, when you say these things, these words carry power. It definitely works. And this is actually a technique that I kind of feel I coined myself, which I would call like the exaggeration technique. So if you want to get someone to think about you, people would usually approach this by just being like, okay, I want this person to think about me. And then they just leave it at that. But there's not enough emotion in those words for that to really come true. Whereas when you exaggerate, from my personal experience, when you aim higher for something, you're usually gonna get something that, even if it's not exactly that, it's gonna be closer to that higher thing than if you would have asked for something lower. Does that kind of make sense when getting people to think about you? Like, this is like what I would call the exaggeration technique, right? So really saying words and affirmation that exaggerates what it is that you actually want. You say things like, I want them to be obsessed with me, even if you don't even want them to be obsessed with you, but you just want them to text you something. This one really works because it really, really sets that intention and puts you in their minds. And I've seen this shit before. I did this once to a guy I was involved with. I was like, I really want him to think about me constantly. I want him to think about me obsessively. And then he ended up texting me, I can't stop thinking about you, which I was like shook, but at the same time I wasn't, because I was like, bitch, we are powerful, okay? We are the universe. We are all connected. And the more that these things happen to me, it just verifies this truth and the fact that we really are all connected. So basically, long story short, that's what I do. I first get someone to think about me constantly. And now I just want to say, even if they don't reach out, or even if you don't have any physical proof in the world that is showing that that person is thinking about you, just trust, because they could be thinking about you, but just not reaching out. So once you've done that step, right, getting someone to obsessively think about you, at night, you're going to set an intention to dream about them. Yes, I said what I said. I didn't say set an intention for them to dream about you. I said for you to dream about them. Because like I said in the beginning, everything runs on belief. And this is something that personally always worked for me, that when I really think about something, really focus on something, and I dream of someone, and then you set the intention to be connected with that person, that if I dream of them, I want them to dream of me. It can happen for them as well. And I will say this kind of stuff takes patience, but it definitely works. Basically, to try to explain this a bit better, first of all, you have to get people to think about you, okay? Get them to think about you. You also think about them, but with joy. The main thing is joy and good emotion. You don't want to be saying things like, I want this person to think about me obsessively, but not feeling anything. You want to really feel it. That's why I like the exaggeration technique, because the way that you exaggerate it by saying it almost makes you laugh, because you're like, wow, I sound crazy, but it makes you laugh. And then that night that you've, said this whole thing, I want them to think about me constantly, right before going to sleep, you're going to set an intention to dream about them. And you're gonna say, universe, whenever I dream of them, I want them to dream about me too. So every time that I dream of this person, I want us to be connected. And you know what's crazy is you wouldn't even have to say these things, because oftentimes we already are so connected that when you set the intention to dream about someone, they are most likely also going to dream about you. This is not always 100% of the time the case, but I have had examples of when I dreamt of a friend, and then the next morning she woke up and was like, oh my God, I dreamt of you too. And even if they don't dream of you the same night, it could be that the timing is different for them and they end up dreaming about you the next night. Obviously, set that intention to dream about them. For me, what really works to dream about a person, like to want to dream about them or to want to dream about anything at night, is think about it constantly right before you go to sleep. Do you know how many times I listened to an artist on repeat right before going to sleep, and then I ended up dreaming that I met that artist and we were like in a relationship or some crazy shit? It really works. And I'm not gonna say that this necessarily works for celebrities, because at the end of the day, they don't really know you, but who the fuck knows? Who knows? Maybe you are in their dreams, but they just don't know who you are. They don't know your face, but they're like, oh, I had a dream last night about this random girl or this random guy. Do you know what I mean? Like, you never know how this is really gonna work, but all I know is everything is connected. So that's why I really felt the need to make this video and like kind of, I guess, talk about my own experience. People are gonna ask now, but what about free will? Doesn't this person have free will and they at the end of the day decide how they feel about us? Yeah, that's true. But at the same time, think about how random thoughts are and how thoughts are always popping in your head. Like, that's why I genuinely believe that no matter what the person's free will is, you can plant yourself in their mind if you really want to. It's all about what they end up doing with it though, because sometimes people can dream about you. Sometimes people will think about you constantly, but they won't even reach out. So please don't assume just because that person isn't reaching out that they haven't dreamt of you. But trust me, this shit fucking works. And the amount of times this has happened to me and I've like set the intention to dream about someone, and then the next morning I wake up and they're like, I had a dream about you last night, and I'm like, bitch, the fuck? Only do this with joy and use this wisely, because bitch, it definitely works, and you'll be having people crawling back to you because they can't stop thinking about you, can't stop dreaming about you, okay? So I guess that's all I'm gonna say today for this topic. I hope it made sense the way that I explained it. I know I'm like all over the place with the way I keep jumping from one thing to the next. I really hope this video was useful. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like these kind of videos, subscribe, like the video. Sending you so much love and light.